Hey, it's Cate. I'm going to talk about the vision and the values for Yogahealer and yoga health coaching. So you may be listening to this if you're interested in how values can create a team, can build a tribe, or you might be coming into our work study program for Yogahealer or for yoga health coaching, and we're going to teach you the values that will let you know if it's really a fit for you or not. The same is true with people coming into the business team for Yogahealer. I started Yogahealer in 2001, and when I look back over the last 15 years, there's nothing new in the values. Like there's nothing that we weren't doing then, or I wasn't doing then, that we are now doing now. And back in 2001, it was just me, and it was just me for many years. And now we have a big team, and we have a big growing organization, and the values really help us determine people that are going to be a good fit, not just for working in the programs and the teams, but for those who are applying to come into courses. It's a way for us to know if the person's really going to be a good fit, if we're going to help them hit their goals, if we're going to help them move to their results in a way that is really easeful and fun, which are part of how we like to work. So value number one, we guide people. This is our little handy cheat sheet here that everyone now uses within the organization. But we guide people into their potential. And that is our fundamental value. Like that's what we do. It's part of our vision, but it's also what we assume is that if you're hanging around here, you want to be more. You want to step into the next level of you. You want to experience different levels of your potentiality. And that's what we do. That is like the fundamental baseline of this organization, is that's what we do. We guide people into their potential. The second one, we raise our own bar, align our actions, and own our results. There's a lot in this one value, but one is like, it's very aligned to potential, right? Like by becoming more, you raise your bar. And so the sense of that things can just meander along as they are isn't really one of our values, but that we raise our own bar, that we up our dharma, that's part of really what we do around here. Our actions need to reflect that, and our results will be the result of the actions that we take. And so that's what that value is about. We orient towards thrive. The way that this value comes up is, when there's a difficult situation or there's a choice to be made, like we just pause and back up and say, like, where is thrive? In the series of choices that we have, like how can we orient more towards thrive? So if that's coaching someone who's in a stagnant relationship, or if that's helping someone who's trying to break into a new income level in their wellness career, all of those situations arise in our coaching programs. And so how do we continually orient towards thrive? How do we believe in thrive, that thrive exists, so we never get bogged down into that any situation is too tough to tackle? All right. We live the habits. Now, the habits that's a reflection of Body Thrive, my book, and that's just a reflection of the history of yogis and Vaidyas, or Ayurvedic doctors who or healers who over time have figured out there's some basic precepts that enable humans to thrive in their bodies, in their ecosystems, in their communities. And the habits are very simple. Early or lighter dinner, early to bed, start the day right, breath body practices, plant-based diet, that we are in relationship with our ecosystem. Healthier eating guidelines, self-massage, self-organ sense care, sense-organ self-care, easeful living, meditation, or sitting in silence. These are our habits. And what we find is that we are easily able to accelerate our own personal wellness and thrive if we align to the habits. It's part of our values. It's part of what we do. We all get on the same page with that, and what we notice is that it enables so much more energy, so much more mental clarity, and it enables us to actually do greater things with our life. It enables us to orient towards thrive, to up our own bar. All those things really become possible simply from living the habits. All right, we inspire through connectivity and innovation. So being inspiring, this is something when I paused and realized, like, what is one of my values? Well, one of the pieces of feedback I get the most is that you're inspiring, or the yoga health coaches are inspiring, or the Living Ayurveda course mentors are inspiring. And so I realized that it is our value to inspire. And that word inspire, inspiration, to breathe in, right? To become full of life force energy. That is part of what we do. That's how we show up. And being an inspiration to others, to me, is actually part of a social responsibility. I've had a lot of privilege. I've had a lot of access to amazing teachers, to deep wisdom. All of us have access to deep wisdom teachers, even if it's in the form of a book, right? And so when we get that through our own drive to self-evolve, we inherit the ability to inspire others. And that's really what that's about. The connectivity and innovation, these are our methods in which we inspire. We help bring people together. We help connect people around the perspectives, around ideas, and around actions. And then we innovate. We constantly improve. And the method we use for innovation is Kaizen. It's small, continuous improvement. Not necessarily taking big leaps and bounds, but just small, steady improvement in everything that we are aware of that we are doing. And we do that both on the business team, we do that in coaching, we do that in learning in the programs. So that's we inspire through connectivity and innovation. All right, one of my favorites and growing edges is we communicate with candor and care. And the candor part is all about being honest, about calling a spade, calling things like you see them. And then we do that from a place of care, from a care for the whole, from a care for each other. And that's our baseline for communication. Because we use this as a value in our coaching, we use it as a value in our business team, in our coaching team. What we notice is that it gives us this nice, like, okay, what do I have? Like, something's a little off in this communication. What do I need a little bit more of? Is it candor or is it care? And it's an easy way for us to give each other feedback in terms of communication based on that. All right. We embrace challenges as evolutionary adventures. Now, yeah, I know that anyone who's on a growth path is going to face challenges. In yoga, they call it tapas. It's like the friction of growth. It's the friction of evolution, right? That evolution doesn't necessarily continue like a log floating down a stream, right? As much as walking through a fire, right? So that's the idea that growth, that there's a friction, there's a rub, and in that there's a transformation that occurs, right? You've got smoke, you've got fire, you've got something dying, literally, old ways, old beliefs, old patterns, old habits dying as a new, better system, a new, better way of being is created. And so knowing that is part of what challenges are about, that's what the evolutionary path is about, that we embrace our challenges as adventures on our own and our collective paths of evolution. This I have noticed just particularly with my coaching team and my business team and working with the individual members, that this value comes in handy time and again, because we are always up against the next deal, right? The next new thing, the next new hurdle. And if we can say like, okay, well, what is my attitude? What is my spirit? How do I want to experience this? What is my emotion going to be in this challenge? And decide like, I'm going to take it on as an adventure. Is so much more fun, and it's so much more actually like innovative. It's so much more full of what I love the French call corps d'esprit, or like a body full of spirit in our approach to what lies ahead of us. Okay, one that has posed quite a bit of challenge is we learn, master, record, share, and mentor. And learning, no problem. Mastering, most people involved in Yogahealer and yoga health coaching become masters or are already quite masterful. Record is our point of friction. That's our evolutionary adventure. That's our challenge. Is usually actually like recording what's really working, creating a system, building a system that we can then share and mentor someone else in. And I'm so glad we identified this as one of our values, because honestly, this is one that we want to have, but we're really actively working on as a growing organization and as a group of individuals who are trying to codify the systems in their life that are really working so that they can turn that over into their communities. And that's particularly true of the pro healer path, as we learn, master, record, share, and mentor. Mentoring is a big part of our value system. We believe that if you're doing something well, you should pass that on. You should help others that want to learn that in a way that's easy and fun and based on relationship. And so that's what mentoring's about. And we have a system for developing mentors that's really effective for helping mentors develop more leadership skills. I'm so proud of how we're doing that, particularly in yoga health coaching and living Ayurveda course, in Awake Living, in Body Thrive, this mentoring process, and just to see that, out of it, our members receive more and more support and our mentors develop more leadership skills. We nurture and co-create with the tribe. So we nurture and co-create with the tribe is about the experience of collective leadership, which I know many people aren't familiar with that term, but it's like, ooh, that sounds really good. So what is it like to collectively lead? What is it like to co-create? The idea is that I'm not sitting here all by myself thinking what course should I think of next? And then I create the course and record the webinars. That's not how it's actually ever been here at yogahealer.com. When I look back to the very first class I created, which is actually the foundation of yoga health coaching curriculum in the Body Thrive book, back in 2000, 2001, I was living in San Francisco and I was bouncing back and forth between there and Grass Valley, where I was in Ayurveda school. And in San Francisco, I was in a great yoga teacher training program at the Iyengar Yoga Institute. And both groups, the Ayurvedic practitioners to be and the yoga teachers, would ask me these really fantastic questions. And so that became what became my classes that I would teach at yoga studios around San Francisco. And one of those first classes was daily routines of a yogi, which later became Body Thrive, the book, the course, and now we're adding corporate Body Thrive coaching into the mix. My point being this is that we nurture and co-create with the tribe is huge. Just simply wanting to support, to nurture and nourish. To me, that's the foundation of Ayurveda. How do we nourish ourselves? How do we nourish and nurture each other, right? And in a nurturing relationship, when we start to establish that within ourselves, that life itself is nurturing, right? And if we turn our awareness to that, instead of feeling deprived, we feel nurtured, that mindset shifts, totally changes our biochemistry. It orients us towards thrive. It orients us towards growth, and it orients us towards health. So that's part of that word nurture. And the idea of co-creation, which I just explained, that it's a two-way street, it comes first primarily through listening, that we listen first before we create anything. We listen to ideas, to inspiration coming in, whether it's coming in from our higher self, from the divine, or whether it's coming in from the person standing in front of us saying hey, I have this problem. And we listen to that and we think of hey, do I have a solution? Do I have a better way? Because if so, then we are now entering the space of co-creativity just through asking that question. And then what happens is then we ask them a question of hey, tell me more, right? Can you tell me more about this? And in that, we're entering a much bigger field of co-creativity. The word tribe is a word that I borrowed from Seth Godin, who wrote the book Tribes. And very much what I've focused with growing Yogahealer is growing our services, really our free stuff, the blog, the podcast, the cheat sheets or tip sheets as they're now called, with the World Wide Web, with the larger community on the internet searching for Ayurvedic wisdom. And what's happened is that over time, we've entered a conversation. People email me back, hey, I love this. This is super useful. I shared this with my mother-in-law. Can you create one on this topic? And then I respond, sure, I'll create one on that. And so has the conversation go. And over time, the tribe has grown significantly. At the point in this recording, there's, close to 40,000 people that receive emails about what's going on, about podcasts, about new tip sheets, about new conversations that are interesting to our audience, to people who are wanting to thrive, who are wanting to step into their potential, particularly in body, mind, spirit, right? And who have a natural affinity towards yoga and Ayurveda. At this point in time, our podcast has surpassed 500,000 downloads. And it's just, to me, it's so exciting to see. When I think of who is this tribe, it's all the listeners, it's everyone who's engaging with what we're putting out there right now. Okay, and very last, I know we have a lot of values. We connect the personal with the planetary. This one's it's really closest to my heart. It's most important to me. And it's that connection that actually brought me into Ayurveda. I came into Ayurveda from a desire for humans to connect more with the planet and to take better care of the planet, and subsequently to take better care of themselves and their families and their communities. So this planet-centric consciousness and this ecosystem-centric consciousess, where we just don't become consumers of our ecosystem, consuming the food, consuming the water, consuming the air, but we become collaborators, right? We become active collaborators of like, hey, what can I give back? If I'm taking, like, what can I give back? How can I improve the water, the air? How can I connect more to plants so that plants thrive? How can I connect humans into the ecosystem so that our awareness as a human species on a planet filled with other plants and animals, so that actually increases? And that's really just the nuts and bolts of we connect the personal with the planetary. So I hope that's helpful. That's an overview of our vision and values. The vision is we empower thrive seekers to uplevel their bodies, their habits, their families, and their lives in real time. This is the deal. This is what we do. And I'm so happy to say that, like, wow, we now have an army, a really pacifist army that's really helping communities, local communities, online communities, planet-wide. Thanks for listening.